What is that from?
That's from Expiration Date, that TF2 cartoon.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
Gentlemen, this is a bucket.
My God.
That says more.
No.
I'm gonna jerk my head, and that thing is gonna.
Yeah,
fly
that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Right off the fucking thing. I've got nowhere closer to put it though.
We could scooch the table.
I can just probably take the headphones off because honestly,
yeah.
How much am I really gonna do?
What does it allow you to do?
I can monitor the audio, and I can monitor the audio just by watching the friggin' spikes over there. I can tell you that Ryan needs to be louder.
Right now?
No, I mean,
or just
probably
in general.
just in general. You might want
to scooch over like.
Since we have
if we do it like this, actually, we'll probably be way better.
Since we have this wonderful circular table now in our Health Breakfast studio in sunny Orlando, Florida.
I assume you bought this with the money you didn't spend on replacing your pen?
No, I dragged this out of the upstairs, and I'm so glad I found that pen because I would be in a much worse mood right now if I did not.
I'll save it for the cast.
Well, it's recording right now.
Oh, we're recording right now?
Alright, in that case, I need to do something real quick.
Okay.
Warning. The following episode of the Hell to Breakfast cast contains copious amounts of terrible Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions.
Okay, yeah, that's a good disclaimer.
Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Get to Mars!
Shut the fuck up!
You know what?
Stop the reactor!
You know what the fuck I watched last night?
What did you do?
What?
Fucking Minnesota Fats, Pool Legend.
Oh, God.
Fucking A.
So we
got a real bang-up show this week.
No, we gotta pimp Retsupre first.
Oh.
And actually,
they are pretty funny.
We have
most of the time.
things to talk about after the cast.
Oh, we guess we could talk. Oh, you need Mickey Mouse for the children?
Mickey Mouse for the children.
Well, we are in.
I spent a decent portion of my day, about an hour, reading up about like the tech they used to make the 2D and 3D work.
In Minnesota Fats?
No, in
Minnesota Fats uses the Cry engine, as a matter of fact.
Well,
ported it down to Sega CD.
Little known fact, the Cry engine was in fact designed for Minnesota Fats.
Sure as shit couldn't use it worse than Sonic Boom.
Oh. Boy, that game
way to just kill all my enthusiasm for the
everything.
For the everything. All right, regas the hype train because you just drained our fuel tanks. But
pure diesel.
Pure diesel. This is the Hell of the Breakfast show. Gala edition.
Yep. Song NCIS.
Fuck. All right.
How the fuck
I had for some reason I had a really difficult time putting the outline together this week. Like I forgot how to write outlines.
It's probably because I refused to do it.
We had I don't know about you guys. I had a fucking spastic week with Thanksgiving and everything.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot done.
I got very little done, and we were talking.
And the
about
little
this.
bit of time I had free was just like, no, I'm playing Smash.
Well, I was talking to Ryan about this yesterday, and I'm going to declare it now officially. We're gonna bump the drawing challenge from last week over to next week. Because I personally had no time to do it with Thanksgiving.
And apparently
neither did anybody else. We didn't get any submissions. Actually, but I think the problem may have been there that I think I may have forgotten to tell people about it. Which would be a problem.
John's.
That's not John's. That's just that one's just on me.
No, that's not John's. That's just you fucked up.
That's like we forgot to put in the game. John's, man. John's.
That's fucking John's.
Fucking John's. But there's no cartridge. We're playing nothing.
Then why are you so salty?
Yeah. All right. Let's. Before we even say any more words, who the fuck are we and what do we do? I'm your host, Brendan. Every week, all the time, always hype. Stay hype.
First captain, sub co-host, first captain,
Ryan.
Yeah.
What was I? First Captain Prime, Kyle. Sweet.
And substitute White Ranger when the need arises.
Oh, okay.
What?
Was that,
What?
Was that Power Rangers?
Is that what that was supposed to be?
Is that like just a fucking Manchurian Candidate thing with you? Somebody mentions the Power Rangers and you chip-tune out the theme?
Somebody mentioned the Power Rangers.
Is that like
All I see is blood.
I can't remember the last 10 years, guys. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Who are you?
It's like how you can't hear Megatron without going da 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 da.
Yeah, I was doing that during football. Oh god, my Giants suck so
They
bad.
really do. They're not good.
They're not good. All right, so that's serious business time. Before we get sidetracked again, thank you to a lot of Patreon patrons for patronizing us on the Patreon. We got a lot of big website changes coming up soon that are going to be that's going to gear our content generation in a more patron-focused fashion. So you guys have got some good stuff to look forward to.
It's one change. It's called a paywall. Fork up cash or the website doesn't even resolve to anything.
Half the time it doesn't now.
Yeah, well, that's WordPress for you.
That's what you pay for. So we thank you again for patronizing us on the Patreon. We do have costs, as it were, now, and you're helping us meet them every week, every month, every day. Don't forget to check us out on our Libsyn site for this podcast now.
On iTunes.
On iTunes, search for the Hell to Breakfast Show. Search for us on
Honestly,
your
like most
podcast
aggregators will have it.
That's true. They will.
Even the really shitty Windows phones ones have it, which
Yeah.
I was shocked
Oh,
to
get the
see.
fuck out! You found it?
Yeah, I found it on Podcasts.
Oh.
Exclamation point.
Yeah.
The best podcast app. The only podcast app.
Yeah, on the
For
Windows
Windows Phone.
Brought to you by Anything But Pie Podcasts.
Please also don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr and all kinds of great shit going up in the month of December. So Google that shit. You're a grown-ass adult. Thank you to Mike Rasmus for our rad-ass theme music, the enigmatic M. Roosevelt.
Who will never be on the show.
Yeah, we might get him down here one of these days. I have a feeling he would just stare at us angrily in the corner, though.
Yeah. From the
I don't
car
know why
outside.
I don't know why I think that.
I mean,
he's a
if
very
we got,
friendly man.
If we got one of those like voice alterers things that they use for rapists on the news, he'd probably come in. There's no real connection there. That's just how I remember those voice modulators.
Oh, I like the guy from Delocated.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Also, don't forget that you can send us your art drawing challenge submissions.
Don't call it art. We
Don't
can't
call it art. We
legally
cannot
call it
legally
art.
call it art. Also questions, comments, concerns, all that other bullshit.
Is that
Send
like
it.
Saga? Did someone patent it?
Yes.
Yes. Fuck you, King. Shots
Brian K.
fired.
Vaughan doesn't even give a
But
fuck.
I was talking about how who did they try to sue?
Heltapodcast@gmail.com. Email Ryan your bullshit. All right, now talk.
No, what was that thing that happened where it was Zynga was trying to like trademark the name Saga?
It wasn't Zynga. It was King.
It was King.
Was King the
They did the same thing
Okay.
because they had Candy.
I just
Saga.
assumed
Yeah.
it was Zynga.
No, that's a sound assumption to make, but no, this happened to be King because candies falling idly in the woods constitutes a saga. Yeah.
I mean, the guy who made their game before they made their game settled out of court.
Well, he probably got
So,
a
yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah, he probably got fucking paid.
I suppose. I don't know how much money he would have gotten
The
otherwise.
guy from the
legal
Banner,
fees.
the Banner Saga guy?
No.
Oh, no.
This is Candy
Sorry.
Assault.
I got that
Okay.
shit from my fucking Android. Banner
Banner
Saga?
Saga
Gonna fucking
is
play it.
hype shit.
Do you know how many months ago that was? The outrage has long since died out and no one remembers his name.
Let's run down last week's hit list. Because some things happened, and some things may not have happened, and I'm starting to seriously doubt Ryan's ability to keep track of the hit list
A lot
on
of
the,
things
on the
didn't
document.
happen.
Because he's put some things on here that I don't even think are possible. Like, Kyle was supposed to read Fables Volume 4, which none of us owns.
I was gonna get it from Zach, actually.
Oh, okay.
he said the next volume of Fables.
Okay.
4 comes after 3.
Yeah.
It sure does. But
And I actually was over there, but I forgot to grab it. So,
next
didn't
time,
happen.
didn't happen. Ryan, you started reading the Dark Tower comic.
Yes.
How did that go?
Did you finish it?
You can hear
Yeah,
the excitement in my voice.
No, I did. The weird thing is I was misled when I purchased it. I thought it was a comic version of the first book of the Dark Tower.
Oh.
It is actually a standalone prequel story, which I highly suggest anyone wanting to read the Dark Tower go and read, because it does the decent thing of defining the made-up words that Stephen King just added into his book.
Oh, I forgot to mention, before because we should do this at the beginning of every episode, just for the fuck of it. Today on the program, we're going to be talking about some developments in wrestling, specifically the anonymous Raw GM, who is back with a vengeance. We're going to be talking about the fact that we all watched Total Recall last night, and we're going to get hyped about that. We're going to be talking about Super Smash Brothers, which we actually had last week, but I forgot to put it on the outline because I wrote the outline on Fever Dream.
And just say that you were drunk. It's okay. We all hate you here.
Oh, that's a good point. No, I actually was sick last week with alcohol poisoning.
Exactly.
So let's put it right back to Ryan, and I hope I sucked away all of your enthusiasm just like you did it to me.
Spray him directly in the eyes. I won't spend too much time on this. I will say this. I surprisingly enjoyed it more than I expected to. That's not to say that I loved it or even really strongly.
Was it actually written by Stephen King, or was it like Stephen King with?
It was strongly advised by Stephen King, but essentially what they did was they brought in some of the biggest Dark Tower nerds they could find
and had them write fan fiction.
What amounts to fanfiction? It's expansions on shit that were throwaway lines in other King works.
Sure, okay.
I was in the Yukon bookstore the other day, and I found, just as a quick aside.
No, go on.
I found a YA romance novel written by guess who?
Stephen King?
No, my favorite hack of ages, James Patterson.
More or less ghostwriters than R.L. Stein.
Probably more.
Really?
I have to imagine that the only thing R.L. Stein enjoyed was writing the last 5 pages of every Goosebumps book.
Did you know that he actually...
And then it was Earth all along?
Did you know that he actually received the all the manuscripts for all the various Monster Blood books at the same time, and they just happened to be so similar that he just made a trilogy out of it? I know nothing about Goosebumps. That was completely out of my
Yeah,
ass.
no, Monster Blood is something else entirely.
Haunted Mask is what I was thinking of. I'm sorry.
No, those are
I fucked up my own joke.
I remember that one. I had that one.
It was one of the better ones. Truth be told, but still, Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
We're not 8.
And yeah, it's 8-year-old scary.
Last word I want to say on this, which I've been interrupted 12 times and therefore don't.
I'm going to keep doing it.
I know, because
we haven't even gotten to your Phoenix.
My big one, yeah, I know. I have only ever read one book of The Dark Tower. I read the first one. I'm actually currently listening to it on audiobook because my Audible account was going to run out of its free trial. Had to use the other credit. I hate his world because I think it's stupid, essentially. Yeah. It's stupid and it's lazy. Yes, shots fired, King, all the way back into the 80s.
He's going to come get you.
I hope so. I've said enough shit about him. I know I'm fucking with Dark Tower and...
I don't know, though. I mean, you were pretty heavy into, what was it, Pet Cemetery, where you were just like, this was awesome?
Pet Cemetery is fantastic. Note that that's the book he didn't want to publish. The book he did publish, I don't really care for most of the time. It's like he has this big, epic world that's formed with 1,000 other worlds that he just took pieces of. Essentially, the world never has to be consistent from one day to the next, so his story writing job is very easy. But the other thing is, it's just the little hints of real world shit. Like, the main plot of the comic that I read was one of the big bads wanted to fuel his army of defunct Sherman tanks with the now dead Citgo oil field. You know, like the gas station. But in a fantasy world that's like 2-dimensional and spoke through with a...
Riding on the back of the Ur-Turtle, yeah.
Why is it there? Why is it the Citgo oil fields? Why does that world have no consistency?
I don't know.
I just hate it so much.
Space Dandy, did you watch it?
Oh yeah, I watched all of the first season.
Okay.
Which, again...
that's all that's out, right?
No, there is a second season.
Oh, get out of here, really?
I don't know how much of it is up and about. But no, the second season is also 13 episodes. So the whole show, I think, is 26 episodes.
That's how they do it.
I did a weird thing with this anime. I've never actually done this before, and I alternated. Every other episode I watched
Subs
the dub.
dubs, yeah.
The dub's pretty good.
The dub's actually really good.
That group, whoever they get, that studio usually does a very good job.
There were some minor complaints that I seem to recall from the early days of the dub, like... Some things that weren't translated quite well enough because a lot of this show relies on very subtle recurring wordplay. Mm-hmm. It's actually a surprisingly smart show for how stupid the characters are.
Oh, yeah.
But anybody out there who's like me and they're like, no, subs for life, why would I bother with the dubs? I do strongly recommend you check out the dub because the dub is also localized.
Ryan's got that tattooed on his knuckles.
Subs
for life.
I don't think I have enough fingers for that.
Subs...
Oh, wait, it's LYF.
LYF, yeah.
Okay, there we go. We figured it out in our imaginations. But they localize a lot of shit. So jokes that you wouldn't be able to get even if they were translated for you, or at least wouldn't stay
Crystal Pepsi.
funny. Yeah, Crystal Pepsi and shit like that. I didn't like it quite as much as Cowboy Bebop, because this show was explained to me the perfect way, and I think it was the best friends who did it, was there are two types of Cowboy Bebop episodes. There's the episodes where Viral shows up and plot happens, and then there's the episodes where they just jack off each other's dicks for the entire episode and nothing matters.
Viral's Gurren Lagann. You're thinking of Vicious.
The buzzer. Whatever. Mr. Vicious, they're all V names. I recommend you give it a look.
I've seen the first episode. I saw the first
They
episode
get much better.
when it premiered on Toonami, and
Like, it's fun. Like, I watched, I think, 4 episodes, and I'm like, this is fun.
I can't fucking watch anime week to week though. Like, I need to sit down and have
The whole season's up, but they're all standalone episodes. None of them build off.
That's
of each
fine.
other.
I'm okay.
Like if
with
you've
that.
seen the first episode, you know that they all die at the end.
That is
Maybe I
true.
didn't stay awake through the whole thing then, because
No, yeah, they get obliterated. The one thing I will say, and it's kind of like the Bebop comparison again, is the episodes that I liked far more than the comedy ones were like the 4 or 5 episodes where shit just gets really real. Like ones where Meow makes peace with his father and his shithole life. It's from the same guys who did Bebop. It has that same impact.
You should finish Bebop.
So we
That's
can
a
watch-
thing you should do.
I'll try.
So
Maybe
can
when
watch
you move in,
Samurai,
we'll
so we
fucking
can
do
watch
it.
Samurai Champloo.
Also good.
It's the way of the samurai.
Samurai. Duel.
No.
No.
Bad man.
We're gonna watch all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Before we watch any
You're
more
a
Cowboy
bad
Bebop.
man, and I don't like you. All right. That's enough of your bullshit. Sorry, Leighton V. Wright.
It's actually not even.
Tell us about
Alright,
that.
did
I'm
you
looking
play-
at the clock.
Did you play any of that?
I played quite a bit of it.
Yeah?
Let's keep it brief because Kyle and I both have to have time to say.
No,
that we can
I
do
will
our
keep
hit
it as
lists.
brief as I can.
Yeah.
I had so much fun with this game.
Really?
It's so much fun. The weirdest thing is, viewers, or rather listeners of our podcast, pick any random episode in the last 2 months, and I'm sure you can hear me shitting on Phoenix Wright 5. All of the reasons I said that game was actually really disappointing, this game fixes.
Really?
Like, it adds a gimmick. And you know, there's 2 gimmicks, and I'll go into both of them very, very briefly. One of them is, there are 4 witnesses at the stand at a time, sometimes 5. So, the mechanic is, someone will be giving a testimony, and one of the other witnesses will react to it. You have to zero in on them and pursue, like, why did you react that way? Like, give me your testimony now, and interrupting shit.
That's really cool.
The other mechanic, which I think is even better, is this is how you do a fucking crossover. You don't put one of them in the other's world. You put both of them in a nonsense world. Phoenix Wright is not a defense attorney. He is a defender against the Inquisition in witch trials.
What?
It's explained in the course of the game, but it's so fantastic because all of the shit people talk about Phoenix Wright, how you don't understand the law. Why are the prosecutors allowed to bully them?
Now it doesn't matter anymore.
Why are they guilty until proven innocent? Because they're witches! They literally burn them! They because how does Phoenix Wright prove his client's innocent? He finds the guilty one amongst the witnesses.
Yeah.
They lock her in a hanging Iron Maiden and descend her into a furnace underneath the courtroom.
That's not what the ladies like.
It's fantastic!
Dude,
And the other... And
How does
might have
Professor
to go-
Layton figure in all this? I have not heard you mention him once.
Sorry, I want... The other thing is... I have actually soured more on Leighton 5 as the week has gone on. Because, to be honest, the story in Leighton 5 is pretty bad.
Shit. Who's
no,
the dick?
he's the dick.
It's me. It was me all along, Austin.
Because the big problem with the story in Leighton 5 is you want to build up suspense in a Leighton story, and Leighton keeps solving the mystery piecemeal. Mm-hmm. Like, there's this enigmatic figure called the Masked Gentleman, and he keeps doing these weird illusions.
Because of course there is.
So, you don't know who the Masked Gentleman is, and he keeps doing these weird illusions. After the first illusion, Leighton solves how it could have been done. It's like, alright, we know he's a fraud. Nothing he does afterwards will prove he's not a fraud. But who could he be? Cue the flashback about Leighton's best friend from 18 years ago, who disappeared but his body was never found. Is he the Masked Gentleman? How could he be the Masked Gentleman? His body disappeared and was never found. I think he might be the Masked Gentleman.
No, that guy is gone. He's a different guy than me. I am a different man than I was back then 18 years ago. I mean, totally different.
So here's how Leighton figures into things. First of all, you do solve the puzzles, and they're really, really good puzzles. But he pursues this tome in the grand library of the town they find themselves in, called the Grand Grimoire.
Yeah.
And he starts investigating the spells that these witches can do. And once he finds out enough about them, he brings it to Phoenix.
Yeah.
So there's a separate tab. You can present evidence, or you can present facts about the spells that are recorded in the Grand Grimoire.
Do you see how happy he is
Fucking hell.
explaining this?
Essentially, it was.
I love how much you love this.
It was when the prosecutor showed up, and he's not a prosecutor; he's an inquisitor
Right.
named Zacharias Barnum. And I just had this big grin come across my face, like this is legitimate joy. I never feel this.
So,
Highly recommend.
Well,
Not
alright.
only is it $10 less than any of the Layton games, you are getting way more for your money.
what is it,
Yeah.
20?
$29.99.
Is
The Layton games are
preposterous.
$40, and
Wow.
it's not worth that
So,
money.
I, never really played Layton. I'm thinking about going and downloading this.
I love me some Professor Layton.
The only bad thing I can say about it, and I brought it up last time, is the 3D models actually look fantastic for most of the characters except Layton and Luke.
You know, you want the
I mean, I
Professor
think
Layton experience.
maybe their art style just doesn't fit.
It works for all of the other characters because the characters in their world are so stylized and kind of quaint and kooky, but Luke and Layton are supposed to look normal. I think what I put on the docket was it looks like Sir Topham Hatt killed
Yeah.
Layton and is wearing his skin. They just look like they're Lego pieces. It's really odd.
If you want to play the best Professor Layton game, just play Curious Village.
I don't know that I agree with you. Like, this one seriously gives it a run for its money.
Well, it's not really a Professor Layton game, though. It's a
I
crossover game.
I mean, it's a Layton game with right elements.
Okay.
Like, Layton is the framework. You start off as Layton.
All right. Well, I mean, I feel like that's saying the best X-Men comic is the one where they cross over with Star Trek.
The best X-Men comic is the one where it's best written and they best act like the X-Men.
Oh well, okay, that's fair reasoning.
But it is time for me to stop talking.
Yes.
And start drinking.
So Kyle, I'm gonna blow through your thing really quick because
There's not going to be much to say.
this is why I want to blow through because there's one thing that I know we both did a little bit of that I do really want to talk about.
Yep.
Did you do Metroid Prime 2?
I played some. I'm still working my way through it.
Did you do Fables Volume 4?
No.
Okay. I watched a little more Star Trek. I also watched the first season of Helix, which was the new Ron D. Moore show that was on
That's
Sci-Fi.
on. Is that on Sci-Fi or BBC?
Sci-Fi.
Okay.
Tell me a
It's on-
little bit
it's
more
on
than
Netflix
not
now.
at all.
It's well, I'll tell you this, it's not that great.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
Premise, though. What's wrong with packing?
The guy who played the congressman in The Killing leads a CDC team up into the Arctic to combat a mysterious new virus that kind of makes zombies but also kind of doesn't.
Ron D. Moore can do better than zombies.
Ron D. Moore, I found out that Ron D. Moore was really only tangentially involved in the show. He was not the showrunner. He was just one of the executive producers, and I really think they just wanted to put his name on the project.
So he's essentially-
and somebody says frack in the first episode because,
Oh!
we do that now.
He's a Steven Spielberg, then? In terms of his relation to the product?
It was good for having on during the workday and to kind of ignore. It's kind of all over the place. It wasn't really all that enjoyable. Would I watch season 2? I guess I'd give it a shot.
But you
Would
got a
I
lot of
recommend-
things above it on your
If
list.
you want to watch a Ron D. Moore show, watch Battlestar Galactica. Just,
Or just watch like season 4 and onward of Deep Space Nine.
or just do that.
Whatever happened to that supernatural investigator show he was pushing that had like all of the alums from Battlestar Galactica?
Oh yeah, what
Did that ever get off the ground?
No, I don't think it did.
It's a shame. Because it was supposed to be Caprica 6 and Jamie Bamber, right?
Yep, Jamie Bumbles and Trisha Helfer.
Big Book and Caprica 6.
Big Book and Caprica 6.
I wanted to see that. Damn shame.
Love Big Book. All right, but the thing with Planescape Torment.
I played some.
So did I. I think I played
So
about
did
as much as
I.
you did.
You played.
Bullshit.
I mean, you got further
Fuck
than
you.
me though.
You did?
Like,
I mean, I got a bunch of quests. Barely finished any of them, but
Did
yeah.
you get out of the mortuary?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, then yeah, you're about.
You're probably around where I
at
am.
the place that we are. You're gonna spend a long time in the hive, talking to people.
that's what I'm doing right
I'm in
now.
the, oh god, what is it called? The
Smoldering
Smoldering
Corpse
Man?
Bar.
Yep.
Yeah, you're
Smoldering
gonna
Corpse
spend.
Bar.
You'll probably spend at least an hour in the Smoldering Corpse
Where
Bar.
is that
just talking
fucking
to
drunk
people.
worker?
Who?
Oh, he's outside. It took me a couple
He's
times. to find
outside?
him. Yeah,
Okay,
he's
thank you.
outside of the bar.
Another question. Do I want to buy the eye of the nameless one?
You do, but only if you have a very high wisdom score.
Matt, 18.
Okay, so you can, when you level up, you can actually bump it to 19. I don't know how high your wisdom needs to be to do this. I actually didn't know it was even possible, then Macrovala told me. When you buy the eye, you have the option to pluck out your existing eye and put this one back in your head. And if your wisdom score is not high enough, it kills you and you end up back in the mortuary. what I believe happens is if
Why
you
does
get
that
the
matter?
if you get the but if you get the eye back and you have the proper wisdom score, you can find a way to like put it back in your head and you get a bunch of experience for doing it. So it's like it's a thing that's worth doing.
Other quick question, and this is just
Planescape Tournament.
You know,
Hope
this
you know
is
what we're
just
talking
this is
about.
how it works because it's an immense ocean of a '90s adventure RPG adventure game.
Book the game.
Yeah, pretty fucking much.
They made a novelization of this game. How the fuck is that even possible?
Easily. You just cut out all the pages
There
where
are
it said,
six-
and then thugs got antsy and hit you.
I know.
Yeah.
They're fucking going at me
You
like
get
corn on
mugged
the
in the
cob.
hive all the time. No, but there are I don't know if there are like 6 distinct ways to play the Nameless one, and I'm just figuring out how the hell they could possibly incorporate that into a book. First of all, what alignment are you guys playing? I'm going to try to do lawful neutral this time.
I'm trying to do lawful good. We'll see how far I get because it's really tempting to taunt Morty.
Ryan, lawful evil or chaotic evil?
Which is the alignment where you exhaust dialogue options and then kill them for whatever's in their pockets?
That'd be chaotic evil.
Alright, then chaotic evil.
This is an important thing to note about the gameplay. Don't always exhaust dialogue options. There are some things that you want to avoid talking about because they will fuck with your alignment. So, like, if you want to play chaotic evil, don't say something like if you have a dialogue option that's just like, "Man, I sure do believe in the law and order of the planes." Like, don't click on that just to
Unless
figure
it
out
has the little lie.
yeah,
thing
unless
next
it has
to
lie.
it.
But like, don't click on that just to figure it out because it'll.
I'm gonna level with you. I am going to fuck this up.
Because I pointers.
You're not giving me pointers. You're saying, you know what, sometimes
You know what,
you don't
Ryan?
want
Just
to
do it right. Just do it right. Just do it right the first time.
Just play your character.
I've actually come to a perfect solution. Next week on my hit list, I'll be reading a walkthrough for Planescape Tournament.
This is both of your first times playing this game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we are all
Also, you lied.
approximately.
There are tons of weapons in the mortuary. There's like
There's several.
Yeah, I forgot as well that you actually get one of the better weapons for Nameless.
I was using a leg as a club for
Did you
a
guys
while.
did you guys get the green steel dagger?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's
Is that the one inside Zombie 42?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I tried to snap the neck of a Dustman on floor 3.
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
And then they were aggroed forever.
Yeah, don't do that.
I got all of the big skeleton things.
So did I, but I used a tome and dispelled their armor without fighting them.
Oh, I couldn't fight them. They kicked my ass.
Yeah.
How did you manage to dispel it at low level?
It's you can. There's a.
We should probably cut most of this.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. There's a zombie carrying something called the Tome of Ashen Bone.
He's like,
and you
"Why
can,
did you hit
I
that
found
floor?"
that.
yeah, if you use that tome with the if you have a high enough wisdom or intelligence, I don't know which. I have like 18 both because I wanted to play super intellect for this game. But
I wanted to play
if
mage,
you have that tome and you go study the skeletons and study their armor. You can learn how to dispel the wards, keeping them constructed, and you can dispel them without fighting them.
Well, I mean, I dispelled them without fighting them.
Oh,
Well, because the idea is,
I don't think it required the tome. Did it?
it doesn't. No, you can trial and error it too, but
I think the tome, like when you went to dispel it, there were probably like 3 or 4 options for
I
what
picked
order
the
to go
right
in.
ones.
Yeah, there are 2 if you have the book
No,
in your possession.
the best thing about having the book in your possession is it does not eliminate the wrong options. It just tells you which one is the one to pick, so you can still fuck it up if you pick
As
the wrong
I did
one.
the first time.
Good game. We'll talk about it more next week when we play it a little bit more. We're probably gonna have like a little feature every week about our progress on this because there's a lot here and it's a great game and it's good to talk about and for the children's. All right, let's move on to wrestling. Let's do the wrestling rundown this week. 2 W's, gentlemen. Last week's Raw.
Not great.
Concessions Kane.
I did like Concessions Kane. Fuck the haters.
Daniel Bryan came back last week and reminded us all why we love him so much. And hint, it's not because of his mic skills.
Yeah.
No, I give up. Why?
No, because
It's because
he's a
good
great
in the
in-ring
ring.
worker. Yeah, essentially
And
having
you,
Daniel Bryan.
and you like his personality, but when he gets on the mic and tries to do an extended segment, it's not very
It's like
good.
having Daniel Bryan come back and not wrestle is just a little bit of a slap in the dick. But
Can I ask you a question?
I was glad to see
I
him
was glad
again,
to see
though.
him too. I was too.
What is the opposite of cheap heat?
I mean, when you earn it, I guess
Cheap
it's
pops.
just heat.
I guess cheap pops. I think.
Oh, are you saying like
Mick Foley brand?
Yeah.
Yeah,
cheap
I
pops are
honest
good.
to God think Daniel Bryan was cashing in a little too hard on cheap pops.
Well, we
which might not be
No,
his
well,
fault.
here's-
That might be
here's
the
the
company being paranoid because he's been gone so long.
A cheap pop is when Randy Orton comes out and talks shit about the Kansas City Royals in Kansas City. That's cheap heat.
pop.
That's cheap heat.
I think it's negative.
A cheap pop is John Cena coming out and referencing local sports team.
Okay.
That is a cheap pop.
The thing with Daniel Bryan, and again, it's one of those things where like when he's not wrestling, I can't help but kind of when they do nothing but have him talk on the microphone for 15 minutes, you can't help but pick apart a little bit what's going on.
Well, the problem was that opening segment was like 29 minutes. It
really was.
It was really long.
And it's like, I finally figured out how to cut a Daniel Bryan promo! Yes! 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 Like, seriously, just say
that long? Steph's been doing it for the past 6 months.
There's surprisingly little going on with the Daniel Bryan character, and I'm kind of realizing that
means it's not back yet. That just means they're not going to put him into a real plot. I don't think, unless they do something this week.
I think it's more along the lines of like Daniel Bryan. The primary impetus for Daniel Bryan's character was that he was always being shat on by Triple H.
Yeah, I loved when he came out and was yesing in their face as they ran out disgraced.
That's not cheap pops.
Oh, that was totally cheap, but it was worth
it was
it,
pretty
though.
cheap. But it was
like,
well deserved.
Which face couldn't have pulled that off?
Oh, anybody else?
Yeah, you would have got... Well, maybe not Cena. Because that would have been weird.
No, but nobody could do the yes chant for that long.
No, but Ziggler could have done it. Like, anybody
maybe,
who was Ziggler in any way over.
Daniel Bryan has more history with the Authority, so that's why it makes it extra satisfying to the viewer that he's getting up in their grill and rubbing it in.
Daniel Bryan is also a character who's totally willing to give somebody the middle finger for 5 full minutes. That's not really Dolph Ziggler's style.
And he looks like tiny Jesus.
He does look a little like Jesus, yes. Jesus is way cool, guys.
I do hope to see him. I don't think it's going to happen soon, but I really want to see him like get back into the mix here. They have such a good crop of talent. I would love to bring him back and have something for one of the rising talents to do.
But here's something that we need to crap on for a minute. The anonymous Raw GM is back.
I wasn't around when it was there for the first time.
Neither was I, but I did some research about it, and we should be afraid. We should be very afraid.
I am not afraid.
The last time
it was Hornswoggle.
No, the last time it was Hornswoggle, and it was revealed that it was Hornswoggle after the anonymous Raw GM ran the show via AIM for a year.
Good.
The anonymous Raw... No, there's like stats I read. The anonymous Raw GM is currently like holds the record for like the longest contiguous running of Raw.
It's not great.
Hornswoggle
it's
on
Hornswoggle on his laptop using AI.
Now, did Hornswoggle pull off a mask and say it was me, WWE Universe?
I don't know.
No, Santino put on a stupid Sherlock Holmes uniform and did a gag detective bit, and they dragged Hornswoggle out from under the ring, and he was texting the
Well, now we know it can't be Hornswoggle because Santino is busy doing advertising for Jingle All the Way too.
I'm super hoping that this is just this is just generating meta heat. This is to get the fans going, oh my god, not this shit again, and lowering our expectations so much.
And then there's going to be a cool thing that happens,
right?
Maybe.
Yeah. So hopefully.
Also, I want to know, in Survivor Series, was it Survivor Series? No, it was the Raw afterward. They had Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah.
And it was the Raw we're talking about.
Yeah, and it was terrible. And did they cut their segment short?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Because they just straight up interrupted them. They brought the dusts out while they were still on stage.
Because that segment was fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was. The audience was not having it.
To be fair, I don't think that was pure interruption. I definitely think they'd written something in for the Dusts to interact with Larry the Cable Guy, but I don't think it was supposed to be that quick.
I forgot to even put Larry the Cable Guy on here because I really want to forget that happened.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I'm not going to worry about it.
We brought it up last week. The Raw guest, whatever the fuck that's supposed to be, is never to the fans' benefit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a time that it is.
It's not.
Ever. Has it ever been?
Last week I raised this question, and you sort of sheepishly said Jerry Springer.
That's
the closest it comes.
The thing with Jerry Springer is in the direction they were going with that feud, it kind of made sense. Because that plot could have been on a Springer episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which
should have been a red flag.
No, but since they were doing it, I was just like, that's kind of funny. They're bringing Jerry Springer in. I didn't hate that.
That's true. Do we have
the segment wasn't very good, but the idea of bringing Jerry Springer on didn't bother me.
What's to talk about?
No, I just want to make sure the Bellas aren't on there.
The Bellas are right back to being completely incomprehensible.
And heels again for some reason.
For some reason, Nikki Bella giving up months of, I guess you could call it character development to do I don't know.
And now we're back to where we started.
To be fair, this is a very keen insight into how the women's work from WWE. We don't usually see them understanding the female sex quite so well.
You're not wrong.
Bitches fight and then they make up, and who's to say?
Did you hear about the
sake.
the CM Punk interview where he kind of ripped WWE a new one over?
I heard about it. I read some highlights.
Yeah,
but I
haven't listened to the whole thing, but I did read
Whence
quite a
came
few
the
highlights.
ripping?
He essentially said that that they put their talent in danger on a regular basis by medically clearing them when they shouldn't be medically cleared.
Now, as a side note, I had just heard that WWE may be releasing those doctors.
Yeah, that would be something. But
that was something I read on a rumor roundup.
CM Punk has stated that he will never come back to WWE, which countless people have said that before. So it remains to be seen. But
Ultimate Warrior came back and it killed him.
The one thing I did want, because CM Punk is kind of really involved in UFC and there's in MMA, and currently Bellator and UFC are courting him.
No, is he involved or
soon
to be involved?
Soon to be involved.
Not as a fighter.
Not as a fighter. He's gonna be an announcer. Yeah, but no, he's involved in that. He's a super fan. Like he really loves MMA. And
him and the Undertaker too.
Yeah,
the Undertaker loves it.
But I guess there was a match that was going to be had where he was going to walk down to the octagon with Chael Sonnen. For one of her fights, and Vince wouldn't let him do it because he said that it was despicable that the UFC had female fighters. So it's like Vince just really either hates women or like thinks they belong in the kitchen. Like, oh, women shouldn't be out there fighting. That's not right. They're fragile. And
you are not gonna hear me say that Vince isn't sexist, but I think in the kitchen might be going a bit far.
Yeah,
I use it as a hyperbole.
No, it's like women can have any number of civilian jobs, but just don't put them in the army. It's
right.
Like, I don't want to seem sexist, but it's just not sound tactically, he said, hiding the fact that he wanted.
Maybe he's. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's uncomfortable with two women for reals beating the hell out of each other.
Maybe he's uncomfortable
with
anybody.
I can't speak for him. So
no. Well, we can. Nobody can. And the fact is that CM Punk, as much as he has managed to stay out of the public spotlight since leaving the company, like he's not exactly known for not stirring up trouble wherever he goes.
Yeah, you're right.
So who knows?
He is punk.
He's punk.
Punkin'.
Pipe bomb in your house. All right.
Please tell me that actually happened. In
remember how last year?
That's a thing.
Sorry, not last year. Last week.
Look it up.
Remember how last week on Raw they were saying they were promoting Steve Austin's doing a podcast with
Vince on it?
Yeah. From what I'm hearing from like JR, from Steve Austin, they're all saying just like he won't pull punches. He's gonna ask about CM Punk.
Good.
And I'm thinking like, what if this is a huge work?
Who knows?
That'd be pretty amazing.
That is always in the back of our heads at all times. Just what if it's a work?
It's a pretty canny work. Like, it's at least a work.
I'm pretty sure that it's not a work.
It's a work that respects us.
But
he's working us on our own level. I appreciate that level of respect.
Let's talk about Arnold.
Oh, great.
We're going to talk about the short story, right? We can remember it for you wholesale.
No, we're going to talk about the Arnold Schwarzenegger
Did you read the short story?
I did, actually.
How long is it?
Total
about
Recall.
20 pages.
Oh, shit. I'll read that.
So, first question. How total was the recall?
Debatable? Isn't that the point of the film?
No, what I mean, like the first question that everybody always asks about this, and I have a fairly firm opinion of it myself, because as it happens, Total Recall just happens to be one of my favorite movies. But do you guys think that that Quaid's secret agent adventures were an implanted memory, or were they real events triggered by whatever the fuck they do at Recall?
I get to cheat. Based on the short story, I would say that they are real.
Yeah, okay. I'd say that they were real.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, in the movie, in the movie, I think that there is pretty strong evidence to suggest that that he's having a fantasy, and at the end of the movie, he is lobotomized. And the most telling thing that gets pointed to in the things that I have read is that the screen fades to white
instead of fading to black.
Yeah.
I have
as they stick the hot poker up his nose and scramble his brains.
No, Immediately as you said that, my nerdy mind came up with one of those bullshit arguments I could give you, which is, I don't think it could be a recall implanted memory, because the way it is constructed is dangerous to the host and would therefore not be financially feasible.
Well, keeping in mind a couple other things though. The guy who comes in and tries to convince him that he is having a recall dream. That is the guy who was on the recall commercial on the train in the beginning of the movie. They also
which they would have brought in to convince him anyway.
But during that scene, well, how would they get him to Mars that quickly though? But anyways,
how did they get his wife to Mars?
Good point. But the other thing being is that in that scene, the guy, the doctor, runs down all the things that will happen to Quaid as his mind continues to deteriorate, and he pretty much lists off every major plot twist for the rest of the movie.
Like what? What does he say?
Like he says, the most telling one is one minute you'll be fighting with Kawato and the rebels, and the next thing you know, you'll be Cohagen's bosom buddy. Because you find out that Hauser was working for Cohagen and all. So it's
probably left intentionally ambiguous.
Oh, absolutely, left intentionally ambiguous.
And it's
but you can argue it either way.
It's way more ambiguous than it is in the short story. But the point I want to make is, again, based on what I read in the short story, if it is a recall implanted memory, it is a memory that is set up to make you doubt your own sanity. Based on the strenuous implantation process, that is a recipe for a schizoid incident, like he tries to have.
Yeah.
You're trying to artificially implant a paradoxical mind state such that I am myself and also not myself.
Well, the other
that would be too dangerous to really get over the table.
This is the other.
Sounds
thing.
pretty Philip K. Dick.
It's so Philip K. Dick.
But again, this is the other thing is you'll recall again from the beginning of the movie, and if you assume that the events of the movie after Arnold goes to recall are artificial. When he's talking to his buddy on the construction site, his buddy's like, dude, fuck that shit. Recall's not safe. Like, don't go there. Yeah. You're going to get lobotomized. So I think that you can, again, argue that the process is not sound and that bad shit like this happens all the time because the memories are so real.
But then again, you have what would supposedly be in his fantasy when he goes back home to his wife and she's like, Recall, why'd you go to those brain butchers?
Yeah. No, see, if we're arguing the point that it is a recall implanted memory, all of the wife shit actually makes sense because we know firsthand that his wife is not actually his dream woman. But Arnold is an upstanding guy, so part of his fantasy involves manufacturing a reason why he could totally cheat on his wife.
Demure,
but also sleazy.
Also sleazy.
Oh, that's the other thing is and I now we need to go back and check again to see if this is on when this is on the news feed because they do talk about the aliens on the news on the train, but I'm trying to remember if that is before or after he goes to recall because one of the things is it before?
Yeah,
right.
because
if I was going to say that I think the aliens are entirely after recall.
No, they're before.
They're before. All right, well never mind then. But
because after is.
They just briefly mention though, like all the heavy details about the alien civilization.
No, I take that back. After. You're right. It is after because the after subway TV scene involves Cohagen's press conference, and one of the press people asks him about the aliens, to which his response is, "These are vile rumors spread by Kawato and his men."
But the other thing, have you guys seen the remake?
No,
don't see the remake.
I don't want to.
Don't see the remake. It's not good.
Now I have to ask you. You told me that they like spell it out black and white.
It was real.
Okay.
But then they do a really bad job of keeping it ambiguous, and you're really, really thinking that it's real at the end of the movie. But then he just kind of like looks at a recall billboard, and he's like, I wonder. And he's like, no, you don't. No, you fucking don't.
I gotta say though, because I've also seen the majority of Blade Runner, and I've read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep.
Yep.
This is actually faithful longer to the Philip K. Dick short story than I would have expected.
Yeah.
Like pretty much all the way up to the meeting in the apartment, it's faithful.
Yeah.
Like he never actually goes to Mars in the short story. They catch him, but
I feel like I don't know, it's one of those things like Arnold is,
and then they do it again.
Arnold is a really bizarre cast choice for Quaid, but I cannot imagine this movie without him. Like,
no, yeah, I know you can't.
The Arnold performance really does.
Well, because the
make
idea
a lot of the bones here.
The idea of the character is like mild-mannered clerk who
Yeah.
will never get to...
Kind of like in True Lies.
Yeah, who will never get to Mars in his own... under his own power with his own money, so he goes to recall.
The world's most jacked construction worker.
In both the movie and the short story, they dump a drugged Quaid into the cab, but in Arnold's, he tries to break out of the chair. There's just a lot of Arnold touches to that.
Yeah, I love it. It is the weirdest fucking awesome action movie.
It's so good. I mean,
it's fucking weird. That is a weird fucking movie.
It's it's funny because there's a lot of...
It doesn't get too high concept, surprisingly.
No, this guy's very grounded. But it's also got... That's the other thing about the remake is I'm pretty sure the remake was rated PG-13.
Yes, I believe it was.
Which is like... There's a surprising amount of blood and guts in Total Recall. And dropping of the F-bombs.
Paul Verhoeven,
And 3 boobs. Which is the thing that happens. And then they shoot her. I always forget about that. They shoot the 3-breasted prostitute.
Yeah, but Thumbelina makes it out okay. Not being whatever ist that would be. That's her cast name.
That is the name of the character, yes.
Weirdly enough.
She
is the most 80s person in that film.
She really is.
Yeah, you might be right. What about Arnold's wife, though?
No, she's...
That's Sharon Stone. That's Sharon Stone as Arnold's wife.
Yeah, but she had that scene where she was wearing the 80s,
the 80s workout gear.
She was wearing the 80s workout gear doing the tennis racket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's all they have.
Oh, you want to... I just realized this. You know who the actress who plays Thumbelina is?
Mm-mm.
And I know she's probably been in a great many things, but she is the actress that plays
Seinfeld.
Mickey's girlfriend on Seinfeld.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, now I have a weirder pull.
Yeah.
I believe his name is Enghard in the movie. The guy who goes into Arnold's implanted memories to try and snap him out.
The doctor, yeah.
The doc, yeah. Do you recognize him?
Oh, I feel like he would look familiar.
It's not even a slap yourself. I'm curious to see how nerdy you are.
Okay.
Add a little bit of face makeup. He is the gentleman who runs the war games Riker is in charge of in the second season of Next Generation.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I totally didn't use the internet for that. Fuck you.
And of course, Michael Ironside's always looking...
Like Michael
Ironside.
They can't fix his face, so they just remove limbs in movies that he's in.
Yeah. That's a cool dude.
We
should watch Starship Troopers
too.
at some point. Oh,
I know, I'm so glad you're on my level.
Yeah,
Man, Starship Troopers 2 coming to you next week.
And the direct-to-DVD release, Starship Troopers 3. Which is not on Blu-ray because they burned all the copies.
It's on Netflix. Brian watched
the full first season of Mighty Mouse.
Fuck. Tune in next week when we watch Mighty Mouse.
No, I don't have time. I don't have time to put that love in my life.
So this is really like I consider this to be a magical gem of cinema. Like I said, this is one of my favorite movies, and I could watch this movie 3 times a day and not get tired of it.
It's kind of startling the degree to which this doesn't age. Like you go even a couple more years in the future. Like I equate this almost to a film like Fifth Element.
I love Fifth Element too, but
yeah, but you have to admit, loving Fifth Element is slightly more shameful.
Only a little bit.
Not that much.
It's out there, but have you seen Gary Oldman in that movie?
Oh God, I have.
Yeah, Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg.
He never looks like himself in film. Does
He never does.
As close as he comes is Commissioner Gordon.
Do you ever see you know they have like the looks like machines that you can find.
Yep.
So there is a fucking thing that I forget what 2 characters it was. I'm just gonna pick 2 for the sake of posterity, so we don't have to battle with this. But somebody came up with a looks like that was Sirius Black looks like Lieutenant Gordon, and it's like no shit.
Good job, dickweed. I gotta say this probably ages, at the very least, it ages better than most Arnold films.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, Arnold has been in a surprising amount of timeless cinema.
Only because he's been with a surprising amount of timeless directors.
Total Recall.
Yep.
Predator.
Mm-hmm.
Conan the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
Terminator.
That timeless piece with Danny DeVito, where he gets pregnant.
Is that Twins?
Junior.
No, it's Junior. There's also Twins.
I combine them for time's sake.
Did you know there was supposed to be a sequel to Twins?
Twins
called
2? Twinsers?
No, it's supposed to be a sequel to Twins called Triplets, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, and Eddie Murphy.
fuck?
Yeah.
This wave of revulsion in my mouth.
It was at a time when Eddie Murphy was still a very funny gentleman.
Pluto Nash.
Oh. Well, that kills that for me. All
The
right,
Haunted Mansion.
we played Super Smash Brothers. We play it big time. Lots of fun.
We did lots of Smash.
We did.
I have surprisingly
Break the walls
little to
down.
say about it.
What do you think? Okay, wait, two things.
Ryan's the one who has like the most things to ask about this. If I am reading this situation correctly.
I mean, I can throw out two things that I think are worth talking about. First, I actually don't have that much experience with Smash. I went N64 to maybe 2 hours worth of Melee, and then I've played a lot of Brawl, to be fair, and I've only played a teeny bit of Smash for Wii U, and none for 3DS. Does this feel like an update to Brawl? Is this just a roster update?
I don't think so. This plays a lot better.
It feels a little different to me.
I was fairly heavily intoxicated when we played. I didn't really notice that much difference from Brawl.
I mean,
but
it's not a
playing...
huge difference, no.
Is it just graphics, or is it game feel?
No, I think it feels different. It feels
yeah.
quicker to me, honestly.
I like it better. I would not want to play Brawl after having played the new Smash.
It feels quicker to you as compared to Brawl. Because I brought this up in private conversation. I'll bring it up again now. The biggest complaint people had was that the game felt too slow and that there was too much recovery time on animations.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Okay, well, put it this way. I have always looked at least Smash Brothers Brawl, especially with the items in the Smash Ball. I look at Smash as throw shit out the video game.
Yeah.
Like it's not really a fighting game. It's not measured response.
No, I don't think you were there yet, but when we were hanging around yesterday, and Kyle and I and Matt G were playing, and we were playing with the Amiibo.
Yep.
The Donkey Kong Amiibo, Danky Kang.
So much better than Conky Dong.
Yes, infinitely better. We were having some surprisingly not really technical matches, but very measured, tactical sorts of scenarios that were going on. And we were really getting into it, and at least I felt like we were.
Well, see, I felt that a little bit, but I only felt it with specific characters. Like the two characters I spent the most time with, I would think, were I did any of my joke matches, like with Brian and Laura. I played Little Mac just because of how far he fucking punches people. But I played Shulk for most of the night. You have to be measured with them.
You know what?
There's tons of recovery on their best moves.
You know who I discovered I really like against all odds and totally by accident?
Zero Suit
Peach.
Samus?
Peach. No.
He was playing Peach
I was
yesterday.
fucking owning ass as Peach yesterday. It was amazing.
I cut you from my heart.
I just saw that. She was. Do you remember? I do play as Daisy. Yes. Right. Do you remember who is it that I ended the match with?
Me.
It wasn't you.
It was me.
Where it's like the way her animations were was like you don't think her attacks have the reach they do. So Kyle was like waiting for me to try to butt bump into him so he could then counter. And it's just I went just a little bit farther than he thought I was going to, and I knocked him clear off the stage.
Yep. We were both high percentage.
What is Peach's final smash? Is it still that weird one?
It sucks. Her final smash
is it still that?
It rains peaches down from the sky and it puts everybody to sleep.
Okay, yeah.
And the peaches are healing items.
Like when you compare... I heard this comment the other day and I have to agree with it. The final smashes, especially in Smash Wii U, seem really imbalanced in terms of how useful they are.
They've always been like that.
No, they're
they're really bad. And maybe it's just because
Lucario got neutered. I know that's the thing that
he did.
And I'll say this, full disclosure, and the reason he brings it up is in Brawl, I played exclusively as Lucario.
Get Smash Ball, do Beam.
Yeah,
that
big Beam Smash Ball. I love that. I like
now he mega evolves.
I liked how floated. What is it? Like just a state like Wario?
It's like Little Mac.
It's
Little Mac does the
Little
same
Mac
thing.
or Wario or
Charizard.
Supersonic.
Charizard does it too.
Okay. Like I said, I've been playing exclusively as Shulk, and it's my first real experience having that really
Show us the Monado's
range.
power.
My box slash.
The Monado.
Stupid sexy Shulk.
I do play only as semi-naked Shulk.
The two final smashes that I like most in that game are Samus and Mario. I like the side the screen clearing beams.
You like bullshit.
Yeah.
just like I used to like. What was that shit you were telling me about the story mode, though? Where you don't actually get to pick which player you play as?
No. That was the...
we never did get to do Smash...
I don't remember what it's called.
Smash,
it's the board game.
Smash
I
Party.
assume that was the
Party
Subspace
Smash.
Emissary
No,
equivalent.
it's not. It's just a little... It's a mobile multiplayer
It's going to
mode.
bother me that I don't know what that is. Play Smash as Arnold. Play Smash with Arnold.
You could both.
Why are you laughing? No! No!
As he grabs you and throws you off the edge. To be fair, you could totally play as Arnie. All it would require you is to play as a custom me.
Yeah, you're right.
And give him brawler style.
And the winner is no!
Compt.
Compt Sigma. Where did Compt even come from?
I think that was a
That's
chips.
chips.
That's been around forever.
That's vintage MB
No,
chips.
that's vintage MB chips. I think that was it an MMO? Was it Guild Wars 2?
Might have been.
It was some MMO where that was the clan name was CUMT.
Oh.
Compt.
It wasn't Guild Wars, but we were Vominos Pest in Guild Wars.
Yeah, I don't remember what game it was. I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Regardless.
We always had Breaking Bad themed guilds.
But we can say that...
Isn't Vominos Pest the name of our Diablo
I think so,
guild
yeah.
as well?
I don't think I agreed to that.
I don't think I asked you.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Generally positive reactions on Smash 4?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun.
You know what's actually really cool, and we don't really have a whole lot of time to talk about it. We really haven't experimented with... you have, I guess, Kyle, but the amiibo is a really cool thing.
Oh, it's dumb as hell, but I like it.
It's cool. It's fun.
The fuck is it?
It's a little, it's
I don't know what it is.
It's a little Skylanders dude essentially that you buy at the store and you scan him into your Wii and he levels up and like becomes a stronger.
It's an
player.
AI partner / opponent that will see what you are doing and teach itself.
It's slightly above putting in a level 9 rando, you know.
Boy howdy, does Nintendo regret passing up Skylanders or what?
Yeah.
They want that. They need that Skylanders money.
We need that
Skylanders
Skylanders money. How's the Nintendo time machine coming?
All right, gents, it's that time again.
That time again?
So the drawing challenge this week, for realsies this time, alter egos. I'm working on my 3 Faces of Foley thing. Which is kind of cool. I hear that Zach is doing some kind of Daredevil art.
That's what I had heard. That's the rumors swirling around.
But the rest of you out there, get to work on your alter egos art. Thanksgiving is suitable Johns for this past week, but no more. We're back on the horse now. Of course, our serious business time. Don't forget to consider donating us some Patreon patroning money. Become our patron and make all this wacky bullshit happen every week. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or from the RSS feed. Check us out on social medias. We're on all the big ones except Instagram because fuck Instagram.
You really need to get on Pinterest. I'm really tired of reminding you.
I gotta pin so many things.
Just pin all over the place.
It's all porn. All porn.
No, it's Tumblr.
Is that Tumblr? I thought Pinterest had like a porn.
Pinterest is... Everything has porn, but Pinterest is mostly cakes.
Cake porn.
Oh...
Join us next week when
He's still
Ryan
my
is busy
heart.
watching cake porn. Alright.
You know what I like the most? Cake farts. No? Just me?
Okay. Join us next week when Ryan's not here. Hit list. for
Fuck
this
you,
week,
that's a
gentlemen.
viral video. Alrighty, what?
You first. Hit list.
Why is it always me?
Because you always are the only one who has things
I
right.
know. Well, I kind of bullshitted you last week. I went to you privately after the show, and after confessing my numerous sins,
So many sins.
I said, if you want me to play Planescape Torment, that needs to be the only thing on my hit list. In retrospect, that is a bitch move. I can easily find something short to read and short to watch.
There you go.
So, that kind of spoils my play for this week. I'll be going further in Planescape Torment. I'll probably be finishing Leighton v. Wright. I might kill Albetsky so that I can talk about it next week, but probably not. My read this week, I found a short one-shot comic from 1989 by your dear friend, Mr. Mike Mignola.
Ooh.
So I'll be reading Batman, Gotham by Gaslight.
Interesting.
Which is the most evocative title for a Batman comic I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I figured I'd just find the shortest anime I could find. I have known nothing about it. It's called Appleseed 13. Apparently it's pseudo-automata, which you didn't let me talk about tonight.
Oh, we have so much shit to get out about that. We can hold that.
We can hold that for another week.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
We didn't like how Automata Silver Side ended. You're gonna hear about it at some point.
I'm hoping it doesn't end up like the last time I didn't know anything about an anime. As in, I hope it's not porn. So the bar is set pretty
Chest
low.
van braces for this week. Yeah,
Is that where the van brace goes?
that's where. Never mind.
I thought it was like a steel covering for your vagina.
Never mind. Just
What's your hit list?
My hit list?
I'm done.
I'm gonna get Van Braces go on your arms, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
And why did you say chest vaginas? Can we go back and talk about chest vaginas?
Nope.
Alrighty then.
So I'm gonna I will also be playing Planescape Torment.
Yeah, but you're cheating. Yours is easier. You've done it like 6 times before.
I've only done it like 3 times.
Anyways.
Anyways, I'll also be continuing my grand watch through of Star Trek. It's really hard to sit down and watch more than like 2 episodes of TOS at once.
Fuck you. Granted, I cannot speak to TOS.
Yeah.
But you lived with me in college when I would sit down and watch 14 episodes of The Next Generation in a sitting.
Well, that's because that's The Next Generation.
So cut it in half. Watch 7.
Anyways, it's different. I'm going to keep watching it. I'm starting to enjoy it. Anyways, the other thing I'm going to be doing is working on my Dungeons & Dragons campaign, which we're going to be playing tonight. And you can hear us play that as a patron reward when you support the podcast. Right. Once we get that shit done. That's going to be cool. We've got like 3 sessions in the can. I got to get them to Ryan so he can edit them. We're going to record a 4th one tonight. We're adding a new player to the table tonight. That's going to be cool.
She has estrogen.
She does. More than we do.
But only as in her equipment load. It's actually a guy.
Kyle, what do you got for us? I'm just going to gloss right over that one.
Well, I guess I'm also playing Planescape. It's kind of a cop-out, but...
Yeah, no, we're all doing it.
No. The I'm going to be watching Star Trek until the end of time is a cop-out.
No.
But I am!
Yeah, I know.
I still want to finish Metroid Prime 2.
Okay.
Gonna try and do that. I am probably gonna end up downloading Leighton V. Wright.
Yeah.
I just, it's so much
But
fun.
From the glowing review I received.
I will say this. I was so down on it from its prologue. There's 2 prologues. Prologue 1 sucks. Prologue 2 is okay, but then you get into the actual game, and it is so much fun. Tasty, tasty fun.
So I'm going to do that.
Delicious fun.
And it has a latent level of voice acting.
Are you really getting... You do this every time.
Yeah, I know.
Just kind of guide it right back in.
It's so effortless.
Oh.
Why do you leave so many holes in your testimony?
Oh my
that
god!
I can present contradictions.
Oh
for?
my god! All right, we gotta roll some bones, and
let's fucking do it.
I'm gonna need more whiskey if I'm gonna deal with your shit all night.
I plan to light myself on fire again.
That's not a joke. Oh, all right.
Is.
Well, for the Hell of Breakfast show, every week, I'm Brendan.
I'm still Ryan.
First Captain.
I'm Kyle.
First Captain Prime. We'll see you guys next week.
I don't think that had nearly enough Arnold impressions.
No, you're the one loud. Quaid, get to Mars.
That's not his line. That's not his line.
I don't care.